Okay. All right, welcome everyone. Sorry about the little mix up there, but I think we're okay now. So if anyone has a problem with sound, let me know. We had to switch rooms last minute. All right, so we're going to talk today about static and dynamic analysis of software, okay, and how that can help with modernization, transitioning from one system to another, like for example, from CA2E to CA Plex, or from COBOL to Java, or in any number of ways. So we look at a product called CA evolveIT and how that helps with that process. Okay, so I guess I can't control the screen. Can you move the next? Okay, so I'm John Rhodes. I'm the managing director for our CM First Group, CTO, and I'm here with Keyoshi Terasawa. He's the chief architect of several of our products, but especially the CA evolveIT product. All right, thank you. And here's kind of what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk a bit about the product CA evolveIT, which is a static analyzer of a variety of computer languages and how that can help you in the CA2E and CA Plex space. And then really spend most of the time in demonstration and usage scenarios and look a little bit at even about the roadmap around this. And we're going to focus it heavily on CA2E and CA Plex, but the product is used across a wide variety of languages. We'll touch on that first. And then, of course, go into Q&A. All right, so a bit about our company that I think most of you guys know us already, but we're really focused on providing tools and services to help optimize your legacy applications or even your modern applications. So we're providing software tools and services around that. And we really focus heavily on the IBM I, not exclusively, but very heavily on I and also on Z. But we work on a variety of platforms from Linux to Unix to Windows. Okay, maybe next slide. So I know most of you in the room and online are focused on IBM I, so we're going to really focus there. Really, there's two challenges. One is the challenge of maintaining your application. Some organizations, I think on the average, spend 90% of their IT budget on maintaining existing legacy applications. That's a lot of money, right? Okay, and so doing that more effectively can save money to put into modernization or put into optimization, new technologies, right? So we try to save people on the cost of maintaining their systems by making it more effective to analyze, but also help people modernize, do mass change, and modernize their applications in a variety of ways. Maybe that's moving from RPG to Java, or maybe that's putting a new API front end on your system, or maybe it's just integrating it with a packaged application, for example. So a lot of things happen there. So we'll talk about both of these aspects of it in the talk. Maybe next slide now. And so here's the product that we're offering called CA evolveIT, and it's really a product that's been out there for several years now. It was first developed to help mainframe COBOL organizations modernize their software, solve things like for example, the Y2K problem. That was something that had happened. Just admit this person to the waiting room. Okay, so that's something that happened that it caused a lot of disruption and it required a lot of mass change on the mainframe and other platforms. So that's how it originally started. And CM first took over the product, and we decided to bring it to the people we're closest to, which is IBM I. So we expanded it from just COBOL on the mainframe to COBOL on a variety of platforms. We also expanded the tool to cover RPG and a number of other languages. And on the IBM I, we really focus on CA2E, CA Plex, and Lanza, in addition to COBOL and RPG. So we look at all this source code, and we parse that source code, and we analyze it, and it's brought into a big data repository that runs on Windows. And that is accessible through a web browser. Keyoshi will be showing you that piece of it. And there's an analysis client you can use to do impact analysis, as well as an API to get information out of the big data database once it's been parsed and put into the system here. You can also take other information from other data discovery tools or data dictionaries or a wide variety of sources and bring that into the system as well, into evolveIT, kind of marry that two together. One example might be to bring in a runtime log of how long it takes to execute each function, and marry that with the function names that you've brought in from your model or from Java, and then use that as a way of doing performance analysis. Okay, so once it's in the system, to a big database, it can be really analyzed in a lot of ways. You can slice it, dice it, get information out. We'll show that in the demo. You can put that in other places. Some people move information into data dictionaries, or they want to look at business rules based on what they find in the code, or they want to do test automation or a wide variety of things. We try to make it open-ended in what you can do with your code once it's been put into CM evolveIT. Okay, so we're going to, again, focus on TUI and Plex now. But I want to get the idea that it goes beyond just TUI and Plex. It can analyze RPG, COBOL, Java, and really anything on the IBMI that you would care to analyze is in this product. Okay, let me turn things over to Keyoshi to talk about really some of the details of how it works with CA TUI and CA Plex.
Yep. Thank you, John. So I'm Keyoshi. I'm Keyoshi Terasawa. Many of you maybe know as a Plex guy, but I'm also working for CM evolveIT last 3-4 years. And then we are working hard, especially Plex and TUI area. Like John said, we're leading model, we're leading source, and then pausing, and then retransforming, and then loading data to the another graph database. Then we visualizing it. So this one probably demo tell most what you see. But yeah, I just go to little highlight first, then I go to long demo today. Okay. So it's cloud-hosted web UI. So it's with a bunch of unique diagram viewer is there. And so we offer the API. Basically, it's the tool using API to load data. So you can use API without UI too. And lots of object relationship connected from field, column, function, table view. And for the TUI, like a value, even the constant is treated as object. And it's all connected, and you can detect many different things. An action diagram, we pausing action diagram, or we get from TUI Plex, then we show that. Also, we create a pre-index those, so you can search the action diagram to look up something, some text. Very fast manner, of course, pre-indexed. And we also have a menu import feature. Okay, now kind of status. So we had last year, I think we show mainly Plex, and that time we had a 3-point, let's say we have 5 point, and 3-point progress for the 2 Plex and 2-point TUI, and it didn't have anything for Ransa. But now, yeah, this year, especially, we spend a very hard time for the Ransa and the TUI, so little ahead of Plex, but we do the Plex, we'll catch up soon. Yep. So some highlight, something you could see from the tool is you see the function parameter definition, internal function, or not, action diagram flow, and the field value constant usage by function, and also entity relationship, I can see in the diagram. And for Plex, yeah, we detect the local and the full action diagram file. So local means the change you made at the function, and the full means it's including inherited code. And the source code object is also bring in, and the message also bring in. Okay, so this is one screenshot showing up the kind of flow of some very nested case block, but like we do demo later. Good. So this is probably not important for you guys, but just to describe how we loading data. So for CA TUI right now, very heavily on the TUI model information. So we have a TUI model API we build on side of the the other purpose, but we're using the same output to load or to be transformed and loading data. So that's why CA2E side has more very 2E model objects like information, like internal function detection and value constant, etc. For the CA Plex, we used let's say 60% based on the generated source code, and because Plex works hard, so it's a little hard to detect all the information from model, but also we use the Plex local model via model API to construct this image. So we cover this type of object. I show this demo. Okay, so going to demo. So question. Okay. So this is a kind of main screen. Right now I'm showing the 2E model. So this, the initial dashboard showing up some count information, so on, static information. And then if you go to summary tab, so this is kind of a detailed information for per type of object, which is kind of configurable by, configurable. I mean, not open to the users, but this is very configuration level. So if we can add some stuff very quickly. So you can see, like even the 2E cap constant, number of constant is 452. And if you show that more view, you see the which constant is used heavily. So this is very small model, so it doesn't show up very anything interest, but if you use your model, that's will be some massive information you see. And for the table, yep, it's a access path type count and the table of view and other, attribute count. So like a BGS entity, a file has like a 42 column and so on. And a key count and function also has some information, language count and type green screen report or standard DB access function and the count by type and so on. Okay. Now we have a called object browser. So that's the main place we list any different type of object. And for instance, function. Okay, so if you click search, so it shows up all the list of functions. You can filter by typing input name, like XFR is contained. So you can find a specific function by name, also description. And you could use regular expression if you know, it's not simple to use, but once you get familiar, you can do. Okay, and database, we show up table. You could show both table and view. And when you click this arrow, it's showing up the all kind of related items. So of course the table has column. So that's why you see the column and you have key and the type information, which is very 2E like information. And column is, you can search from column, but the field is something interest. So if you click field, I think I pre-selected. So field is kind of used by this table or view. So this field, this particular field is used by these kind of table and the view, and field become column of those panel. And a field is also used as a root of reference field. So this is number 8 field, and this is reference field. So this base field is used by 7 field value, and then 7 field, and then it's also contain the value. So this field contains 2 value, and you see the data. So we transform just to make it easy to read. So it's basically it's a number. So in the 2E, I think it's a equal, and then the internal value. So other stuff, other type of field has a different, I mean, if you have list, you see that list with comma separated and so on. And if that range, you can see the from to way. So you can see the information very quickly. And the value is basically a value of field. So you can start from value. And then constant, so this is something. So in the 2E, constant is actually object. So if you see the -1 object, -1 is somewhere it's used, and then you can see it's used in this function. So this is function. So I go to this later, but I can show now. Okay, so going to diagram. So this is a kind of, I'm not, okay, I'm showing, right? Okay, that's. Yeah, okay, so this is constant used by this function. Okay, now I go to open how it's used. So I can open this and then say full. Okay, so it's thinking and it's bring up some code. Okay, I hope this may be little tiny on the screen, but I hope you can get the idea. So this constant is used actually call statement of something. So this is a call statement. And if you see how it's used, actually you can see it. So this is input personal ID is passed as -1. So that information detected and then stored. And then call is happened if the command key add is true, and that's case block. And this is a 2E user edit point. So you can see the function has a main entry point and the edit point, and then has case and when block, and then using -1 to call this function. So obviously, if I show the full image of this call, so this is the full action diagram view. You can see the detail, but there's an edit point, and I think I could go maybe just to variable. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So there's a case block and a call and so on. And if the call is using some field to pass, and that's short variable, and it's display the like this record personal ID field is used. So let me clear up. So this call statement is actually has variables so-called personal ID, and if you check the parameter mapping, so you see that, so it's passing record personal ID as input of parameter, and also you could see the action diagram as text here. So this is a text version of action diagram. So this says, so this is a name of function, and this is a first tabbed delimiter is edit point. So you see the 2E edit point, and then you have a simple assignment, and you have a case block, and the case block has command key add, and then this is calling function by passing parameter. So you're doing like a FG, FF kind of thing. So those information is visible, and you setting condition yes to record sub5. So that's a user, edit point, and the other edit point has some other stuff. Okay. Okay, we can shrink that. The other thing we have is entity relationship. So let's say we have list of entity here, which is tiny, but if you pick up the application entity, so it's now showing up the schema scoping. So this entity has 3 default table to view, retrieve and update. That's one information. Also, it has a relation with entity. Okay. So let's say if I show relationship in the diagram, so you see the this application is actually referencing a person table with a different qualification for, and it's referencing the other entity, and then this one has an audit stamp include. So then if you show the usage of, backward usage of this audit relation, then you see instantly see that this audit entity is used by this entity. And of course, you can show that has table, okay, and then table has column key. I just show key. So table has key. So this is a column. And if I open the other stuff, so this is the schema, a column it has. So I can display. So this one may be too much information in the single screen, but it has a table and column information. And of course, from column, you can start some other way to investigate this field. And so you can start a new diagram, and you can do some view, okay. And also you can do the other side of view, nothing, okay. Field as column, okay, that's what I want. Okay, so this is the root field in 2E, and this is used column, and this one going back to super field if there is a reference. Okay. Backup to function. So we have a function called 3. So this is a relatively complicated function in this model. So you can see the function has a name and the descriptions and type of 2E. Function type and language is selected, and its group has green screen type, and it has 195 of action diagram count. It's calling 6 function, etc. So it's all there. Then, as I see, you can see action diagram from here too. So you see this is little lots of complicated stuff, and then see that you are passing those parameters to when you call the change application. Good.
So there's a question in the chat.
Okay.
We'll show multiple usage details for the multiple 2E models and multiple Plex models as well as native.
Okay, so that's a good question. I cover later, and yeah, I answer maybe end of the session. Yeah, I prepare the topic. Okay, now I go to this function again, and if I open the full flow block view, okay, so this will show up entire action diagram. So this was a screenshot I showed in the other one. So there's basically a bunch of case block and frame block, and it says frequency is blank, or etc. And it's actually sending message. Okay, so this message is obviously somewhere exists as object. So we have a message object, so you can see it. So this message is, I think, you can see the large property of a message. So this is the actual text amount frequency field is required if last used is answered. Okay, now obviously you can detect which one is actually using this message. Obviously it can point to the, no, sorry, I did the wrong one. So these all statement is actually using same message. So there's that means it's easy to see. So these all check is for about doing the message output. Okay, and whatever, I just need to see the what I try to do the browser function. Okay, parameter mapping, that's something. So this is a function in object. So I go to new one. Okay. So you can show the action diagram, but also you can see the definition of parameter for this function. This is not including mapping information. Of course, this is a definition function. This is simple one, but you can imagine this is like a P. When you put the P on the 2E screen, and then you see the Z for the each of line. So this is defined access path as field type, and then it has only one field, and then type as I. So if you have RST or pause, this 3- become change, but that you can see the parameter definition. And then if someone calling, so these two functions, two code is calling, then you can see the mapping information. It's called by blank, and it's called by maybe some other value, I believe. Yeah, it's the code. Okay. Field. Okay, let's show this field. Okay. So this field is status field, and some has value. So this is what I mean. So this has 5 value with data internal value is set, and this is a list. This is all value, but you could create some custom list. But you can see the list contains those data. So it's a lot of shortcuts. So you need to go to field and then Z, etc. But that's really quick view you can do. And then also it's showing the reference field and use the database table via these column. Okay. Okay, so now document search. So because we have an action diagram as text, so it's visible, means we store those text data somewhere on the server. Okay, now we have using the search engine to pre-index those. So imagine you want to search quick statement used in your model. So if you do that search, so it's return very quick. I mean, it's not a lot of source exists, but still it's searching, full action diagram text. So you see this quick statement is actually used here. So that gives some quick check of anything. So the anything means if I have copy file. No, that's maybe not okay. Well, I mean, even like this one, for instance, if I want to search on one, and that's also show up. So that's, I mean, you can use from the object browser, but you can also search anything as this manner. So this see the 2 line have con1 is used. So you can use field name or combined with work and so on. Okay. Okay. Okay, now little bit with API and what's the one of the potential we may have for the impact analysis. So this is a function. This is internal function, execute internal function. That's why the name is kind of surrogate. It is not useful, but you can search with this text. But anyway, so this is an internal function, and then this 16 means it's called by entire call graph contain the 16 function from this is that then. So this is the one I just checked and backward full. So you see this is called by another internal function, as you see. And then this is external function. So this is external function, and then this is internal again, this is external again. So it means when you change this function, you need to regenerate these 5 functions. And as you see, this is, I mean, relatively quickly you can get the idea. However, the call graph is not always that simple. So then we created some test API for this presentation. So I have says, this is simple, just you pass the name as list. And so if I call this API, so you see the 5 function instantly get result. I mean, it's you know, believe or not, or you know, it's really trusting. It's a hard one, but it's actually showing up these 5 functions instantly with this type of list. So if you know, okay, let's say. So this is edit record 3 screen 3. Okay, so if I go to call of this, and then so it's calling some other functions. So it's quite a lot. But if I add, let's say, I don't know. So this function. So means this will be added. Okay, so you can pass the list of internal function at a time. So this is different, right? 0 to, no, it's same, sorry. I go maybe this guy. Yeah, so I passed these 2, so now it should become 6. So 1 is added, E3R is added. So if you change multiple internal function, and then you can see the list of you know, updated functions. That's maybe one of the powerful things. We could integrate, not integrated with this UI, but that's not the major issue. The detecting the relationship and then find the answer is something as value. And we could do lots of things, similar kind of impact analysis concept. Okay. For Plex side, well, I mean, most of this object browser behavior is same between TUI and Plex, but if I switch to Plex mode, so actually TUI can have menu concept, but we just import menu for the Plex this model. So this menu, I mean, you know, you have a different way of construct a menu. So menu source is value based on who, you know, what do you use, but the menu can be imported that way. So you can create a tree menu structure, and then you can associate what is calling function, and then you can do the same way to show the things from as a, you know, entry of function or entry of menu option. This is huge call graph, sorry, 100. So believe or not, when you start from here, there's a potentially 800 function will be called, but you get a very quick answer for that. I mean, relatively quick answer. And so source code. So Plex's source code object. So you see that. So this is just a dummy number, but I'll copy file. So there's a copy PC file. You do the usage, 6 functions using, etc. And you can see that, of course, the large property text of source. And I think you can search the text as large property scanner. So you see the get data in C++ API used in the four places looks like. So yeah. Also, what is the source code menu? Okay, copy file. So similar, we have a document search for the action diagram. So we have these two different settings. So I can search only when something is defined, used in action diagram local change level. So let's say this is event. So event is generated this way, I mean, an existing action diagram. So you can see these two event statement is used in these two functions exactly here. So that's other thing that probably, like a quick handy thing to quick review. So the other thing is, yeah, we don't have a body object yet for the Plex, but you can logically search value used in the function too. So you can see this one, some phrase setting as output of this value. So that kind of usage is also available. And then here, I mean, this has a kind local search concept too, so you can search in the code. And then, yeah. Oh, no, this one. So anyway, I mean, I did very quick, but the key here is lots of relationship is statically loaded, and then that's why it's quick. So, it's why we use, why we suggest to use is it's very high performance. Well, it's static, but it's very high performance. And get answer, probably some answer I just quickly showed, Plex or 2E doesn't answer for you. And well, or you get answer, but it takes forever, or maybe really lots of side hand noting or memory or human error happen. And so we know the model, so we know the 2E model, we know the Plex model. And any other probably people maybe have similar thing, maybe lots of heavy source code based parsing. So it won't create the answer for, like you guys model based developer. So that's the other thing. So kind of more meaningful answer. I mean, let's say if you use just ready source code, parsing utility for 2E Plex 1, you always get the AAXF or whatever input name, and that's very takes time to consume. Okay, and well, same time, this is good for the, if you know 2E Plex, but the very high level entity relation function call graph information, probably you don't need to be a very expert at 2E Plex. And also it's helped to when you get, reopen the model after 3 years, nothing, any bug or whatever. So it's very quick to catch up, get the information. Yep. Some usage idea I show, maybe demo. So I don't want too deep, but call graph with access data, entity relation. Currently, we're doing only entity relation. We don't do in the field level, but we could. But maybe key on primary key, foreign key, maybe. But that's just we didn't focus it. Call text fetch and usage. And as a replatforms resource, sources. So we have parameter definition, we have a call, and we can detect like a calculation statement, maybe, So that kind of thing will help to the many different angles to extracting the information that you want to move to other places. Very simple information, simple idea is if you know the parameter information, well, which probably lots of web service generator doing that, but we have a similar thing we can do. And also we have some code information, so maybe, we can generate, Node.js or Java or whatever, some project template. And next one is something maybe interesting for, especially for 2E, so impact work field. So work field used in the deep of somewhere, and then its effect on some other completely unrelated area. So right now, we don't have a concept of function calling scope as instance, but if we add that, if the work field used is in that scope by who, that may help quite resolve nasty bug you may have sometime. Other API related information here. Okay, so I put this slide for kind of when someone meets or this slide stand just after this session. So I put the many screenshot to here. So I don't go too much, but it's something you could have fun. Right down. Okay. So what's next? So we have easy to find enhancement idea. I'm developing while I'm developing, but just to do one by one. But we could mix up the native code parsing. So we have a RPG parser, COBOL parser, etc. And you guys most likely have some of a CA program or user program. So if we combine that, we'll create the repository combined with the 2E or Plex with native code. So that's one. And the second one is probably the question you ask. So cross-reference among different platforms. So we actually, current version, we can load multiple resource information to the one repository right now. But we're not creating the reference each other. So that part is missing, but if you have 2E model, at least you can load. And sometimes you see the duplicate name object. That's about, but once somehow we found who is logic coder and who is kind of interface definition, then maybe hopefully we can link those together, and then you can show those. We can meet what everybody has, that different kind of headache. And also thinking a bunch about the document. So UI is good, but reality, if you want to check the impact analysis of functional field, you maybe prefer to some document generated. So yeah, we kind of working on that. And also, that's other thing. So if we do have name of object, well, why not? Maybe we could add those results to the 2E model list, so you can maybe regen instantly. And timestamp information. So some information, object modified, date, etc., is actually there. So we may use those as filter. And field change impact analysis, value change impact analysis, and some smart business logic related, but especially detect some calculation statement, etc.
So back to the question that you had about multiple models. So 2E models, that's in the roadmap, multiple 2E. Multiple Plex, if they're in a single local, is that possible now?
Single
local model, or how can someone search multiple Plex models?
Basically, we cover, this is like a model unit of import unit. So you have model A, we create a model A information, and we have model B information, or 2E model X information. Yeah. So we have these three sources to be loaded, and then our ETL can read each of three, and then load as independent tree, but it's going to the same place. Now, the true value count is after that, we detect a name, table name, then combine that, then to connect like a 2E application, 2E function is calling maybe 2E interface function, but that 2E interface function actually has a body of logical Plex, maybe. So that kind of, so we could have, connect that. But our status now is, we can load, I think even CA2E Plex runs a mix to the one place, but not combined.
What about multiple CA Plex?
Yeah.
Yeah, so multiple CA Plex, as long as it's in one single local model, right?
Yeah, really, doesn't really matter, Okay, so timeline is good. Okay. We have 2 sessions this afternoon. Stay tuned, related here. So if you want more around how to use evolveIT, especially 2E side. So there's a session, 3-hour session this afternoon. So this is more how to run, how to use. And then I will host little generic, but we're gonna go through the graph database, which is the core of this tool. And the graph database is kind of, you probably heard the name at least, and then you use most likely every day with knowing or without knowing. So we're going to the how it works kind of side of session. I use a bit of this as an example, but mainly talk in more general concept of a graph. So that's unfortunately at the same time, but we could see the one of them attend, and you maybe see the one later. Okay, so give a try. So we're doing the POC for this. So what we need is different based on the Plex or 2E, but in theory for Plex, at least we need a zipped local model, which better, I think, local model. And then pre-configured for the configuration you are interested, that's maybe the minimum requirement. Version of Plex, not so important. We just forced to upgrade the local model here to the latest. And then zip the Plex generated source with comment. So, well, we could generate source from local, but it depends on the size and anything. So that's sometimes time consuming. So if you have source generated, but we need a comment with generated. But if you zip up these two, we can load POC for you Plex. And the 2E is right now, there's no source code needed at this point. But if you zip up the CA2E model as save file, we could load for you. And then we grant the access by cloud, like I did for the demo, and URL and the user password will be sent to you. And then we have a sorry. I have a customer portal. I want to open that page. Why is that? Something slow. Okay. Okay, so we have some portal to upload the information I asked. You need to have a CMFAS support account, but once you have that, you can upload model, and you need to type in email, but there's a wizard, so you can attach. There's no specific entry for the 2E, but if you attach the zipped model as, zipped save file as a attachment, then we could process. Okay. So that's the end of session. So thank you. And any question if you have?
Just checking the advanced multi-model one. Okay, I think we're good. I think we have to wrap things up, get set up to the next one anyway. So
Yep. Okay, thank you for everyone, and we see you next session or afternoon.
all right, very good.
Thank you.